Why Music Lessons Make You Smarter. Chapter 1. What's in a Name? Let me start off by focusing first on piano education. Most likely, your very first piano lesson involved your teacher introducing you to the piano's black and white keys. You sat there, and for the first time in your life, you noticed that indeed the black keys formed the pattern on the keyboard. There were groups of 2 black keys alternating with groups of 3 black keys. This pattern repeated itself throughout the entire span of the piano. Your curious mind began to ask, why? That was supposed to be an excellent question, but then you learned to just deal with it. Later on, you would realize that the black keys served as sort of landmarks, so you wouldn't get lost trying to find your place among the white keys. Then you were taught the names of the white keys. Oh, so they have names, you thought in awe. And you saw that their names were simply the letters of the English alphabet. Not all of them, but only the first 7. Well, that's lovely. I'm going to have the hang of this in a jiffy. Next, you were asked to stretch your fingers. Each of your fingers had a name too. This time, you used numbers. Not all of the numbers, but only the first 5. 1 number for each finger. So wow, that was really easy. As a child, these first lessons served as a motivation for you, because the simplicity that these concepts seemed to you gave you your much-needed confidence in yourself. A number of lessons after that, you were slowly introduced to the black keys. And as might be expected, they had names too. But surprise, surprise, their names became more confusing to you than mere ABCs. They had either the words sharp or flat after any of the 7 letters. So you tell yourself, there goes easy. So what's my point here? Shakespeare once asked, what's in a name? Well, my answer is everything. Imagine how much chaos the world would be in if we didn't have names for everything there is. Try changing the names of everyday objects and see what that does. Call a salt shaker a camera, and try to get someone to pass it to you at the dinner table. Mommy, please pass the camera. Or when you're late because your car got a flat tire, try explaining to your boss that on your way to work, your soup got a dry edge. Makes no sense, One of life's requirements is for you to memorize names just as you should memorize words in your vocabulary. That's why a name is everything. Suppose you see your friend Fred at a noisy bar and call out to him, Larry, Larry. See if he responds. So, if you intend to make a pianist play a B-flat note, but your music sheet shows an F-sharp, don't expect to be entirely happy. That's why names are already taught on the very first day of an aspiring pianist's training. Names for notes, names for chords, names for scales, names for symbols, names for everything you see on a sheet of music paper. And those names are permanent. You have to commit them to memory. Music theory is full of these. But this very theory is what's making the understanding of music so much harder than music actually is. So, am I saying that it's hard to understand music? Really? When you simply listen to music, do you really need to understand it? Music, as many claim, is a part of the human soul. Every person has music running through their veins. But I'm afraid I have to disagree. Look, music as we know it was not born out of the natural world. Music, with its melody, harmony, rhythm, and all its many other intrinsic qualities, is a man-made phenomenon. Nature's forces have nothing to do with it. But now you'd say, There's music in the singing of the birds, the rippling sound of the rivers, the resonance in a cave, the howling of the wind. Come on now, that's not the music we're talking about. You don't hear a Chopin nocturne while gazing at the moon atop a hill, unless you bring a radio along with you. Music is everything but natural. It's man-made, artificial, synthetic. I would really love to see Tarzan on the day he first hears this man-made, artificial, synthetic sound, complete with melody, harmony, and rhythm. He would, I imagine, be as flabbergasted as any of us would be if we stepped inside an alien spaceship. And besides, do you think aliens are interested anyway in understanding our music? Well, granted they are. The only way they can fully understand it is first for them to learn the language we use to describe it, the names we give to every element of it. Therefore, the language of music has to be taught. What we should realize is that calling music things by name is part and parcel of everything that the understanding of music is. For music will not exist at all if humans, at least those who create it, don't have the means to identify its parts. The languages we use to define the ingredients needed to produce the sounds we call music. That's why humans are the only beings on this planet that can bring about what we call music. We are the only beings on this planet that have a well-defined language, or languages to be exact, because at some point in time, we invented other languages, believing it cool to say things other people won't understand. Isn't that a funny human tendency? So to remedy this, despite the mushrooming of new languages in history, musicians in the classical era have agreed upon using just one language, Italian, for musical terms. That's because during the Renaissance, Italy established a linguistic dominance over other languages when it came to music and art. And there's the fact that the inventor of the piano was an Italian by the name of Bartolomeo Cristofori from Padua. He invented the piano in 1700. Okay, so you've learned all you need to know about names given to music things. Why music lessons are good for you. Whenever a musician listens to music, his appreciation of what he hears is head and shoulders above that of a non-musician. He takes in things that have meaning to him. The nuances and significance of each element are being brought to the fore. If and when he needs to perform it, the result is a much more gratifying experience for him and for his listeners. An untrained person trying to play it might ruin the whole idea. Even if a musician doesn't intend to perform a particular piece of music or song he hears, the mere sophisticated satisfaction of listening to it is worth all the time spent studying how music is built. This is a fact not fully understood by non-musicians. It's like a physicist appreciating every little way the physical universe unfolds, while the rest of us just take everything for granted. Or a food connoisseur enjoying every little mouthful, while the rest of us just ram food down our throats. Is it possible to enjoy and appreciate music without having to know all these terms? Of course. The average music lover doesn't know a single musical term in the musical dictionary, but you see him every day buried under the songs coming out of his headphones or speakers. However, as a piano student or musician, you are sitting on a higher step of the staircase. You do something else aside from just listening. You have appointed yourself as a creator, as a performer. And with that power comes responsibility. Advice from Spider-Man. Your end user is supposed to enjoy your work, and so you're responsible for this enjoyment. And the first thing you need to work on is your music vocabulary. The mere fact that you're able to think and talk like a musician has made all of your piano lessons worthwhile.